Congressman Ralph Norman. Thank you all so much for joining us here tonight. We are going to get started in just a few minutes, so please hang tight and stay on the line as we continue connecting to more and more of your neighbors in the 5th Congressional District of South Carolina. Again, hello and welcome to everyone who may just be joining us on the line. Again, we are inviting you to join the conversation with Congressman Ralph Norman. We're so excited to have everyone join us on the phone. You will have the opportunity to bring your questions live, and we encourage that you do. You can press 0 on the keypad on your phone at any time to ask a question. You'll speak directly to an operator who will assist you in getting your question in line. Now, again, you can submit those right now or at any point throughout our forum, and we will answer those after we hear some opening remarks from the Congressman. Now, for those of you who are just joining us, good evening and welcome. We're inviting you and your neighbors in South Carolina's 5th Congressional District to join Congressman Ralph Norman in just a minute for this very special live telephone town hall meeting. While we wait for more to join us, I'll go through how you can participate. Throughout this call, we do hope that you ask questions as we will open the floor to you after we hear from Congressman Norman. When you have a question in mind, feel free to press 0 on your phone keypad. Now, once you press 0 to get in line with your question, an operator will assist you with submitting that to our forum. So again, pressing 0 to get those questions lined up. Another option for you tonight is to press 7 at any time if you would like to provide us with your email address. In doing so, we will be sure to keep you updated electronically moving forward by linking you directly to the Reps e-newsletter. So remember tonight, at any time, you can press 0 to get your question in line, or you can also press 7 as well to register for those future email updates. So thank you everyone so much for joining us. Looks like we have a wonderful audience so far. I'd like to officially get this call started by turning it right over to your Congressman, Ralph Norman. Sir, please take it away.
Thank you so much. Good evening. I am honored to be with you. My name is Ralph Norman. I represent you in the 5th District in the United States Congress. And I'm honored to have so many on the call tonight. We can reach, we call out to over 100,000 people. And if you don't get your question answered here, email it to me and we do respond. You can follow me on in South Carolina and my work here in Washington by following me on Facebook, on Twitter, or Instagram. Just search for me at repralphnorman.com or my website, norman.house.gov. What I will do is cover a variety of the topics, and I'm going to be as brief as I can because I really want to get to your questions, but I think it's important to know what I have been doing. And let me say from the outset, I've had number of people ask me about why are we not doing live town halls. I've done many of them. Now the left has pretty much co-opted it into an opportunity to just shout everybody down and nobody really can hear what's going on. If that ever changes, I enjoy the active town halls. Let me just tell you what we've been working on. Budget reconciliation. All that is when one party controls the House, the Senate, and the executive branch. You don't have to have the Senate. You can have 50% plus one. 435 members of Congress is 50% plus one as well. We've been working around the clock to get our budget in order before Memorial Day. And the question is, do we keep mortgaging our children's future, or do we make the tough decisions now to reduce spending and restore fiscal sanity? We're $36 trillion in deficits that will only continue to keep this economy stopped. Already this year, the Trump administration has launched a full-scale audit of pandemic-era spending and unspent programs. You may have heard of it as the DOGE Commission. And the fact that that Elon Musk has had the bandwidth to go in and find where your tax dollars are going has been invaluable. On the Hill, I'm working with my colleagues to ensure Medicaid programs enforce work requirements for able-bodied adults with no earned income. And they shouldn't be getting a check, and we're going to work to make sure that happens. We've got to prioritize our spending on border security, veterans care, and national defense. We passed a budget, and I'm on the budget committee, passed a budget on April 10th and instructed the committees to find a minimum savings, a minimum baseline of $1.5 trillion with the aspiration of $2 trillion. And we're well on our way to fulfilling that promise. And we're at the peak of reconciliation, a special process Congress uses, again, just to fast-track our taxes, fast-track spending, and the debt issues. And it takes away the gridlock that has happened for way too long. We have a window right now, this week, to stop the fiscal bleeding and chart a path back to solvency. I'm doing everything in my power to make sure this reconciliation just in more smoke and mirrors. That includes pushing back against Medicaid fraud, runaway welfare expansions, and reckless spending that has train wrecked our country. Rogue judges. You may have heard the injunctions that judges have gotten involved, and they don't have any right to do that. 77 million people voted for President Trump and for what he's doing. Now, I will tell you on the spending and on the judges, they have had a record number of over 60 in his first term, whereas if you compare that to the Obama administration, and if you compare it to the Biden administration, it was just a fraction of that. Take Judge John McConnell. He blocked President Trump's executive order freezing certain federal funds meant to rein in waste. Now, the problem, Judge McConnell spent over a decade chairing the board of Crossroads Rhode Island, a group that benefits directly from those same funds. He didn't even recuse himself. That's a conflict of interest. That's some of the things that that Donald Trump has had the courage to cut out. It's judicial activism, and it's unelected judges using the bench to push personal agendas. We've got to hold them accountable, and they have to have consequences. We shouldn't have judges being politicians in robes, and that's the problem we've got. Other judges around the country have blocked the executive orders on border security, they crack down on catch and release of many times criminals, and that's what this president has taken upon himself to get out first. And they're not going to stop until they get the criminals out of the country. And if you're in this country illegally, you're going home. He's working with Congress to support legislation that limits the ability of the lower courts to issue these national injunctions, which they don't have a right to do. This isn't just about court cases. It's about the future of our democracy. Congress has the power of the purse and the responsibility to rein in this judicial activism and overreach. I just won't stand by while unelected judges get all the news and they try to rewrite our laws from the bench. Tariff negotiations. What has happened with President Trump is he wants fair trade and he wants reciprocal trade. Why is it fair for other countries to charge for our products than us to not charge anything for theirs? He's got it's been successful. It's been some heartache with it. I know in my industry we get a lot of our lumber from Canada in the building industry and the car manufacturers, and it's been tough on a lot of businesses. I think it's going to prove a benefit, as you've seen in the news lately, where you have countries who are wanting to make deals that's good for America, not for the other countries. They've imposed targeted tariffs on Chinese steel, Mexican agricultural products, and key Canadian imports where unfair practices were found. He's reopened talks with the European Union and the UK under terms that puts this country first. It ended sweetheart deals negotiated under the past administration that really prioritized globalism over American jobs. You've seen the manufacturing revitalization. Saudi Arabia just recently is going to put probably close to $1 trillion in this economy, and through the building of factories, and already has been car factories that are ramping up the production here. And tariffs are just a tool to level the playing field, giving us leverage at the negotiating table. The Biden administration didn't use any tariffs, and America was taken advantage of. That's come to a stop. This is some of the things that's taken front and center stage in Congress. But I wanted to impress on you, for your listeners, we do a world of passports. We get involved with the VA if you have issues, the IRS issues, Social Security issues, and many more. So call us, 803-327-1114, or stop by our office here in Rock Hill. So it doesn't cost you anything, and we've helped a lot of people, quite frankly, inside the district and outside the district. So I look forward to helping you. And operator, let's open it up to questions.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, sir, for holding this forum. And before we do dive into Q&A, if you joined us just a little bit late on the line, let me share with you that we are inviting you and thousands of others to this live telephone town hall meeting with your Congressman, Ralph Norman. So if you have a question, you can press 0 on the keypad on your phone. Also, wanted to remind everyone you can press 7 as well to provide an operator with your email address to receive updates moving forward from the Congressman's office. So again, 0 to get those questions in line, 7 to sign up for the Reps e-newsletter. So with that, we do have our first question here from Beverly in Lake Wylie. Beverly, thank you so much for being on the call here tonight. You're live with your Congressman. What's on your mind?
Hi, Ralph. It's Beverly Kelly.
Hey, Beverly.
I'm calling. Hey, how are you doing?
Good.
I am calling about Limestone. I am shocked that we are not helping that college, university to stay open. My mother went there for 4 years, worked hard to get through the school. They've had a lot of successful people that have graduated from that school. We've had a representative, South Carolina representative, graduate from there. And, I just don't understand why we're not helping them.
Yeah, Beverly, great question. Let me just tell you, first of all, private universities like Limestone, you're pretty much limited by law to get federal funds. Secondly, and I've been on the campus and I've had the Limestone president and staff up here over the last really 4 weeks. What's happened, they've got in a financial bind. They borrowed more money than they could handle the debt load. And so, for some reason, they just borrowed more than their really ability to pay back, and that's the problem. Now, what's happening, I do think something will happen when they close. The buildings will be put to use, whether another university buys it. I know that USC Upstate is waiving application fees for Limestone students, and we'd be happy to help facilitate any of these connections if you need it. Thank you for the question.
Absolutely, Beverly. Thank you for joining our forum here. Up next, Holly with us in Rock Hill with another question for you, sir. Holly, thank you so much. You are live. Go ahead.
Thank you. Ralph, this is Holly Bennett. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for doing live town hall. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
My question is the House going to be able to move forward in codifying the president's executive orders? It's 2 parts. And if so, how quickly can you get that to happen? And then also, why are there so many breaks in session and not working full weeks? The appearance is that the House just isn't really working. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing and are being maybe complacent. And I don't know if there's a basis or a reason behind it. And if there is, I think the public needs to understand that and know that.
Sure. Great question, Holly. I appreciate you calling in. I'll take the first question. Why are we not codifying into law the Trump executive orders? I asked that to the speaker in the caucus meeting, and it's coming. It's having to be refined. Some of the numbers we've got to make sure that they're on target and that they're right. But they mean nothing if, as you know, executive orders are only as good as the length of time the president's in the White House. So we've got to codify them, and we will. And it'll be some of the bigger ones. Now, I will tell you, a lot of people, don't want to codify these because they've benefited in some way. We will get no help from the Democrats. They're mad about Elon Musk finding it, which is hard to believe. Elon Musk is not taking a salary. Elon Musk is donating his time, and Elon Musk has put together a team that was able to track each check and where it went. And you know, we heard about the Stacey Abrams. She originally put in $100, and she got over $1 billion. That's not what your tax dollars are for. The great part about what President Trump, what Elon has done is identified. We will be codifying a good many though, and and the American people will be able to see who who's doing what and who votes to codify them and enforce them and who doesn't. Our time spent in district, we get the whole month of August. We get other weeks off. Now is a time, and I just met with the speaker, that till we hammer out some firm details on this budget, which we're struggling to get the $1.5 trillion base, and much less the $2 trillion. But you know, every dollar's got an advocate up here in D.C., but it's now or never. Reconciliation probably won't take place in my lifetime, but and I will say, when you're in district, your constituents, I know, I'm going to schools, I'm going to businesses, so it's not just, not doing anything, and different people do different things. I go to work when I'm in district, and it's actually what I enjoy, more so than being in D.C. Thank you for the question, Holly.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get to another question here from Robert with us in Spartansburg. Robert, you're live with us. Go ahead with your question.
Yes. Hello, Congressman.
Hey, Robert.
I would like to know, it's a bipartisan question I have. I watch the House and Senate every single day. When I can. Right now I'm at CVS shopping, but I would like to know who is your favorite Democrat to work with. I used to live in Michigan, and hopefully it's a Michigan member of Congress or a Republican like to work with. Either
sure.
From
Yeah, I work with Democrat Raj Krishnamurthy, who's from Illinois. We chair the Solar Caucus with him to promote the use of the sun as a source of power, and have used him. I'm friends, believe it or not, with Maxine Waters. She's friendly. Now, we vote opposite on everything, but she's nice, and a lot of them are nice. We just have a different worldview of the role of government and the role of where our tax dollars should be spent. And there are others, but to be honest, it's hard to get together on issues with them because, they just government should be in their minds king over everything, and we just have a difference of opinion. But doesn't mean you can't be friends with them. Thanks for the question.
All right. Thank you so much, Robert, for that question. And again, if you press 0 to get your question line, we have lots of participation there. So we're going to go ahead and get an operator with you as soon as we can. Just hang tight there with us. Again, if you wanted to sign up for the Reps e-newsletter, don't forget that you can still press 7 right now or at any time to sign up for that. So with that, up next here, Helen with us in Fort Mill. Helen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, Ralph, Congressman Ralph. This is Helen Davis, Precinct 1. We spoke after the reorg last time we spoke, but I did have a concern. I got pulled over by some management over on Archie Street, and they said to me, because they know that I, have been in the precinct president for forever. And they said, we have a real concern here. How can we get 2 speed bumps? Because the apartments in back of the first apartments, the kids are speeding really bad. And we have little children that ride their bikes and they go down the hill. And they asked me, how can I get speed bumps on Archie Street? And then thank God for tonight's call. So now I can ask you directly how to get a couple speed bumps.
Sure. Thank you for the call, Helen. 2 things. One, the South Carolina Department of Transportation called my office, 803-327-1114. we will make a call and find the people person that would handle the Fort Mill. But I would I urge anybody when they have an issue like this to take a picture and of where the speeding takes place, and then send it to the contact that our office can give you on who to contact, and then follow it up with get a time frame and a definite plan on if and when it can be done. But that's the best place. And again, call our office. We will make a call as who handles it for you and a person to talk with. And thank you for the question.
All right. Thank you, Helen. Let's get to another question here from Angela with us in Lancaster. Angela, welcome to the forum. You're live. Go ahead.
Hi. Thank you so much. Congressman, thank you most of all for the fabulous work you've been doing for us. We really appreciate this, but your timing on the town hall is brilliant, because my partner and I were just discussing that horrible crime that just took place in Lancaster by those illegal immigrants and that poor woman being murdered. We've only been here a few years and we have never felt safer anywhere, and this is absolutely just shattered, how we feel about the area right now. We are horrified, as I'm sure many people are. My question is what is being done about this immigrant situation here? We thought we felt like we actually escaped what was going on around the rest of the country. We feel like it's now touched us.
Well, it has, Angela. Thank you for the question. And South Carolina has got the 9th worst crime rate nationally. 9th. There's over 118,000 property crimes that occurred in 2023. The state spends about $26 million per 100,000 to combat crime. We've got right at 5.2 million people. It's a combination that's going to take time on the illegals. The Biden administration wanted them to, they let the 15 million in illegally in my opinion, to create a voting base. Well, we're getting them out. It should have never happened. It's against the Constitution, and it's a national crisis when it comes to the crimes that you're talking about. And I will tell you, during the State of the Union, to hear the president have the moms who lost their daughters or were raped. Here's what I would ask you to do. Get with, in Lancaster's Barry Fail, who does a good job. Get with him and ask his opinion on, as a citizen, what can be done. I have a breakfast meeting with all of the police departments and sheriff's offices to go over what bills they need, if any, issue of money that's being paid. Law enforcement, some of the most the dollars that they get for what they do, it's doesn't even match what they should be paid. I'm always for giving pay raises to our law enforcement, but ask what as a citizen that you can do. And I know the young lady that got murdered by 3 illegals, and you can multiply that in South Carolina and in other parts of the country. It's really a problem, but the president's getting them out of the country, but it's going to take a year or more to make sure this happens.
Well, Angela, thank you so much for the question. And sir, thank you so much for your response. We're going to take a quick moment here to run our first survey question of the evening. So everyone on the line with us, please vote here by using your phone keypad. We want to know, what do you feel Congress should work on codifying from President Trump's agenda first? You can press 1 on your phone keypad for the Department of Government's efficiency savings, pressing 2 for the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, press 3 for Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, or press 4 for Restoring Equality of Opportunity and Meritocracy. So again, what do you feel Congress should work on codifying from President Trump's agenda first? So pressing 1 again for the Department of Government's efficiency savings, pressing 2 for the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, press 3 for Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, or you can press 4 for restoring equality of opportunity and meritocracy. So again, thank you all so much for voting in this survey question here. We do want to go ahead and get right back to your questions. So with that, Lisa with us up next in Lake Wylie with us. Lisa, please go ahead with your question next. You're live.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I want to start out by thanking you for supporting the American people and President Trump and his agenda.
Well, thank you, Lisa. It's a miracle that President Trump is alive. It's a miracle of what he's been able to do. It's a miracle that he's put together a team of people, and they're experts in every field. Kash Patel, Pete Hegseth, Pam Bondi. Go through the list. They're wonderful people who are doing a great job. So there's more to come too.
Amen. So through DOGE, a lot of corruption and nepotism has been exposed in U.S. aid within people in Congress, within judges, within state and local officials. When is somebody going to be held accountable?
Well, first step, it's been identified, and the president's been in office now a little over 100 days, and look what he's found. It's over $154 billion taxpayer dollars that have been squandered. $1.5 million to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplace. $70,000 for production of a DEI musical in Ireland. $2.5 million for electric vehicles for Vietnam. $47,000 for transgender operations in Colombia. The list goes on and on. But he's identifying it, and the press won't report a lot of the things that he has found. But no, we'll codify a lot of the things to cut them out, get this budget back in our deficit down. But it's just going to take time. But he's definitely getting on. He's definitely made such an impact the limited time he's been here. Thanks for the question.
All right, moving right along here, sir. Another question we have from Larry with us in Rock Hill. Larry, go ahead with your question next, please.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Representative Norman, thank you for this opportunity.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, the timing of this is very good as well. I wanted to ask, you being, on the House Committee for Financial Services and some subcommittees around that area, what's the status of the campaign promise, and a number of other people besides Trump were saying this, no tax on Social Security? I have not heard that mentioned recently by people. They talk about no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, but I'm not hearing no tax on Social Security. What's the status of that?
Okay, great question, Larry. The tax on, what's happened on Social Security, we can't handle it in reconciliation, but what President Trump's promise to no tax on tips and overtime and so many other things, deductions on equipment, that's in a big bill that is going to be before us pretty soon. And he's got a lot of things that have, it's the same tax cuts that we codified in 2017 and is during his first term. So that's coming. That and a host of other things. Now you're going to hear a lot of gnashing of teeth over the tax cuts are tied to the spending, and we're trying to get the spending cuts in order. And the president wants one big bill, which is great. Everybody agrees with the tax cuts. The $4,000 deduction for seniors, the itemization of depreciation, the 100% expensing, where it's going to cut this manufacturing loose in this country, and so many other things. That's going to happen. He's going to deliver on that. But you may hear, since the two are tied, they're trying to get by with, I say they, a lot of moderates don't want to cut as much as needed to get the interest payments on our debt to the tune of $37 trillion, and they're trying to, put it in the future. Well, the future's now, and we've got a spending problem, and we've got to handle it. But the tax cuts are going to happen. Everything you mentioned is going to be it was going to pass, and we're excited about it. And now it has a price tag, and that's the other thing, that when you cut taxes, you've got to pay for it somewhere, unless you cut spending, and that's why we're trying to do the same thing. Thanks for the question.
All right. Thank you so much, Larry, for joining us. Up next here, Ryan in Rock Hill is up next with his question. And I do just want to remind folks listening in, just give a last reminder that I want to encourage you all, if you have not done so already, to press 7 to provide an operator with your email address to receive those updates moving forward from the Congressman's office. This is one of the best ways for you to stay as current as possible, and I can see that your neighbors are taking advantage of this option. So go ahead, press 7 right now to sign up for the Reps e-newsletter. You're not going to want to miss out there. So thank you all so much. Let's go ahead and get to Ryan's question up next. Ryan, you're live with us. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Ralph. It's good to hear from you again.
Hey, Ryan.
As you talked about the nationwide injunctions and everything going on with the judges and the courts, I've heard some talks about possibly reforming that. And I know that Congress does have the authority to, statute by statute, alter the jurisdiction of the courts to some degree. So is there any consideration in Congress for limiting by statute the ability of federal district courts to issue nationwide injunctions for specific cases?
Great question. And for your listeners, Ryan is blind and has done such a great job graduating from college. Is a real hero, in my opinion. Ryan, here's what we did. On April 9th, the House passed the No Rogue Rulings Act, which limits the authority of federal district courts to issue injunctions. How it does that is it restricts on a nationwide basis. District courts just could not issue an injunction that extends beyond the parties involved in the case. The only exception is class action lawsuits. You have to have a 3-panel for multi-state cases where 2 or more states are being challenged for different actions. And again, this is the first start. The Senate has not passed it, but I voted for it. It goes a long way into stopping what you mentioned, which are needless injunctions. And I will say they're just fighting President Trump at every issue. And so we're trying to this will be a first step. But we've got to get on judges in South Carolina to hold them accountable too. Liberal judges who many are just politicians with robes. We got to make sure they don't make it through the Judicial Merit Screening Committee here in our state. Thanks for the question, Ryan.
Absolutely, Ryan. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's get to this next question from Diana in Tega K. Diana, you're live with us. Go ahead.
Hi. Thank you so much for having an open forum. It means a lot to our communities. It means a lot to our states that we are able to speak to you. That is amazing. My question to you is, if they vote to cut Medicaid and to cut Social Security, how would your stance be on that?
Oh, great question, Diana. First of all, we can't cut Social Security and reconciliation. You can't even touch that. Now, we're going to have to deal with it some time, because it's going bankrupt in 2035, but we don't touch that. Now, on Medicaid and Medicare is not being cut, or Medicaid is not being cut. Now, what the press is telling you and what our friends on the opposite side of the aisle is saying, Republicans are cutting Medicaid and booting people off the rolls of Medicare and Medicaid. That's not the question. I mean, that's not being done. Now, what is being discussed, and I've taken a hard line on this, if you are an illegal, should you get a check from the federal government? No. If you are a able-bodied working American who is getting a check from the government and you're able to work, you don't get a check. And so that's what they're saying is cutting. I don't classify that as cutting. The other thing is, Diana, they found on fraudulent checks that went to improper Medicare and medical payments, they're rooting those out. But I don't, if you're stealing money when you don't deserve it, from a federal government who doesn't have the money to give. Every dollar we give out is borrowed for the most part. So no, that's not the case. I would tell you if it is, but it's not. Now, if you call cutting, I mean, if the left and anybody thinks that you're able, you just should be on Medicaid because you just don't want to go to work. Well, I disagree with that, and it's a huge issue in South Carolina. 1.1 million people are on Medicaid, and it's a huge. I think it's $9 billion they spend or more, and it's growing. But no, it's despite what the media tells you, it's no cuts. And again, I don't classify illegals, and I don't classify people who should work, who just choose not to. They shouldn't get a check. Thanks for the question.
Absolutely. Diana, thank you for joining us. Another question here we have up next from Richard in Lexington. Richard, go ahead with your question, please. You're live.
Yes, Congressman. I'm a combat veteran. I served in Iraq, also served 24 years in all branches in the military, active and reserve. I've done my part. Nobody had to tell me twice to run across the road under fire, Right. But I have to constantly bug the VA to do their job for me. I earned those benefits. It's not like I, got them for free. If you've ever heard the term dirt sandwich, that's when a helicopter flies over and makes your food crunchy. I've eaten many dirt sandwiches in my life. And, now that I'm retired and I need things like my wife to get a dependency claim, I've been waiting for 3 years for something that should have taken 3 months. And a lot of times when you call, you get a flippant attitude by VA workers. I think that the president should hire a veteran to run the VA. I really do, because
first of all, thank you for your service and thank you for what you've done for the country. A couple things. One, you shouldn't have to wait for 3 years for a claim. We can help you on that. You need to call our office at 803-327-1114. 803-327-1114. And we can help you with that. And we follow it up, and we will do what we can do. And if we can't help you, we'll tell you. But we've helped I don't know how many veterans, and I would love for you to do this and reach out to us. We have people who know the VA system, they know how it works, and they know who to talk to and know who not to talk to. So give them a call. As far as to veterans to head the VA, Doug Collins is heading the VA. He is a veteran. I know Doug personally. I served with him when I first got to Congress. He's from Georgia, great guy. But we need to know your problem, and we'll put somebody on it, and hopefully we can make a difference and do something for you. And if all you veterans, don't try to do it yourself. Let us intervene for you. When they get a call from a congressman's office, they listen. It doesn't cost you anything. So let us try to help you, and we'll definitely do it. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, absolutely, Richard. Thank you so much for that question and your service. Again, if you need that office number, it was 803-327-1114. And you can also visit norman.house.gov. You can get the office number as well through that website. So thank you again so much for being here. Let's go ahead and get to another question here that we have from Linda in York. She asked me to read her question, sir. She's asking, you've said tariffs are about leveling the playing field. Can you talk about the progress made under this administration and what's still left to do?
Sure. Well, first of all, it's been a deficit. I think we're $122.7 billion that we face every year, and it's growing. Secondly, China is not our friend. They're buying land in South Carolina when they're not buying it for good reasons. China would never let us buy land in China, nor would they let us advertise there our democracy and our republic. So what's happened is the president has stressed fair trade And if you tax our products, then why are we not taxing yours? And we shouldn't be going into the bank, going into a deficit because we won't charge other countries. And I'm excited that what's happening. And 70 countries have now come to President Trump and asking for to make it fair, and it would never happen had he not put the tariffs in place. You can't ask China to please be nice and give us a good deal. They'll take your socks and leave your shoes on, and we're tired of that. So I think what's happened is it's going to be, if it's good for the United States, that's where we are, and we've got it's not like we've got a pile of money sitting somewhere that we can just dole out free to any country, and we shouldn't be going in the hole on it. But it's a great thing that he did. Thank you for your question.
Yes, great question there from Linda. And up next here, sir, we've seen this question come in a lot tonight. What are your top priorities going into budget negotiations, and how do you plan to protect taxpayer dollars?
Great question. I am protecting taxpayers' dollars by, one, insisting that anybody that is healthy and can work does not get a government paycheck. Secondly, I'm insisting, and we had a conversation tonight with the speaker, if you're an illegal alien, you do not get a government paycheck. I'm protecting taxpayers' dollars in the credits, credits that electric cars get, as an example, $7,000 credit. That's ridiculous. Let the American people pick the car they want. If they want it electric, fine. If they don't. But the IRA credits, we're insisting that they come. I'm voting all of them out. And the argument we're having now is they don't want to phase them out until 4 years. I'm sorry. You shouldn't have a tax credit on wind and solar and on batteries and other things. Let the free markets decide who the winner is, not let government. And, we've got enough problems with building our quality streets, our quality roads, our quality bridges, and we've got to major into major things. I've always said, and a lot of times in politics, we major in the minor, and we've got to start putting priorities in place. And the tax credits have gotten way out of hand because your big corporations have worked it where they get all the deductions, and they don't need them. Let's compete, just like most Americans when they go to work, they compete, whether in the banking industry, whether in the farming business or whatever, they compete. That's what's made the country great. So that's how I'm protecting the tax dollars. And the tax bill is a great bill and is giving you more money. And one of the big, disconnects with my friends on the left, they think the money is theirs. It's your money. It's not their money. It's not politicians' money. It's your money, and we want to give it back to you and let you invest how you will with your hard-earned dollars. Thank you for the question.
Absolutely. And up next here, another question coming to us from Rich with us in Union. Rich, thank you so much for joining the forum. Go ahead with your question on tax deductions.
Yes, Ralph, this is Rich Haggerty in Union.
Hey, Rich.
You talked about, first of all, I want to ask, thank you for your answer on Medicaid, because there's so much misinformation in the media about that, about how so many people are going to lose their Medicaid. But my question was about taxes, and I think the most important issue right now for the Congress is to make sure those 2017 tax cuts don't expire, because I think that would just be devastating for the economy. And specifically, I wanted to ask you, is there a compromise possible? I understand that the last hurdle, or one of them, is the SALT deduction. And is there a compromise possible on a limit on those?
Yeah, what's happening on that, Rich? The SALT deductions, all that stands for is state and local taxes. And if there's a millionaire's giveaway, it's that. We put a $10,000 cap on the amount of taxes that anybody could deduct from a properties other than their main residence. If you own 5 houses and at the beach, the mountains, you shouldn't be able to write all these taxes off. And so they're trying to. It's a 10,000 amount now. I've heard the figure 30,000. And a lot of the blue states are in a bind anyway financially. And if we give, my position is, if we raise the SALT limit to, let's say, 30,000, then they got to pay for it because it's going to be a cost to the federal government. And let's find some more cuts to make. That's where an hour and a half ago, we had these very same conversations, and we raised the issue. We need to know we're not going to give them that just because they have got a group of constituents that are wealthy and think they ought to deduct all the property taxes on every house that they own. I just disagree with that. So it will be raised at some point, but we're standing firm on you got to pay for it. Thanks for the question.
Rich, thank you so much for your question here, and thank you for everyone who did submit a question tonight, sir. We are officially out of time, and before I do hand it back over to you for some final remarks, let me just say that if your question was not answered, feel free to leave us a voicemail message once this call ends. I also encourage you to visit the REP's website. That's norman.house.gov. We had a lot of participation for registering for the e-newsletter tonight. We're still trucking along there, but if we didn't get to you tonight, you can do so right on his homepage. Again, that's norman.house.gov. So thanks again for joining us, everyone. Congressman, would you like to please close us out with any final remarks?
Sure, Operator. I just want to thank everybody that took the time to listen. I value you taking the time to just have a conversation. And if we didn't answer your question, we've answered as many as we could in the hour. But I'll be doing this. I know we've got in another month or a month and a half another teletown hall. But call us on any issues you have with Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and we can help you. Veterans Affairs, and again, follow me on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram. But thank you so much. It's an honor to serve in Congress, and I look forward to meeting as many as I can in person when I'm in district. God bless each and every one of you. Bye.